What's up, you guys? Scott here. In today's video, I'm going to list out the 3 things that you can do to start your hypnotherapy, coaching, NLP, RTT, or even healing business from scratch without spending any money on advertising. Yes, these 3 things can aptly help you start your business from scratch, never pay a cent on advertising, and start acquiring paid customers as early as today. But it's going to come down to a new approach in business, systemizing everything you do, and really understanding and developing the right shift in the way you think of seeing your business. Whether you're a coach, hypnotherapist, NLP, or RTT, this process is the exact same. So guys, let's go in, let's list out these 3 things and you guys can start following them as of today. Let's go. The best place for us to start is look at the 3 elements that we need in order to dominate our niche, grow our business from scratch, and ultimately dominate the niche, the business, and gather that lion's share of the income with the type of clients that you work, whether you're a coach, hypnotherapist, RTT, or NLP. This process remains the same regardless of what you call yourself. So number 1, the first thing we're going to look at is very simply, we're going to look for a gap in the market. We have to understand that in order to stand out in very oversaturated markets and a very oversaturated niche, which are around the coaching niches, the NLP niches, and the hypnotherapy niches, and so on and so forth, we have to find that gap. If all we do is try to compete in places where there's too many other hypnotherapists and coaches, it's going to be very, very hard for you to make even a small amount of income because there's too much competition. Number 2, we have to get something called a repeatable client getting machine. Now, I speak to thousands of coaches and hypnotherapists every single year, and it always is remarkable to me to listen to the way they get clients and how there's no repeatable systems in their business, which basically means that if they do manage to get a client from maybe some sort of advertising, some sort of organic marketing strategy, they don't know how to repeat that system, which means that every time they want to get a new client after the fact, they have to come up with a whole new system, maybe create a whole new funnel, set up a new website, whatever they're doing. There's no allowance for them to repeat the same thing that got them the first client in the first place. What I want to show you guys how to do is to put something in place that is repeatable. So you know each and every day what buttons to push that are going to generate a paying client. Think of the freedom in that. Instead of sitting in front of your laptop, waking up, in your business each morning, sitting in front of your laptop, wondering, how am I going to get my next client? You've essentially already lost this game, so to speak, if you're wondering how to get your next client. You should know how to get your first client, then your second client, then your third client. Then it just comes a conversation with yourself of how many clients do I want to get? How much money do I actually want to earn? Number 3 is the repeatable conversion system. Again, speaking to so many hypnotherapists and coaches that cannot repeat a sales call, cannot repeat a strategy call, which means they don't know what their close rates are, and they have no idea how to control this conversation to turn a non-paying client, or basically a total stranger, into a paid client, and they can't repeat that process. And now they run into the issue they had in step number 2, where they can't repeat that process. You're going to hear me say this thing a lot, which is repeatable control. Getting control of all of these elements inside of our business allows us potential growth, and growth to happen over and over again. Instead of one month you have money, the next month you have no money. The month after that you have some, the following 2 months are dry and you have to go get a 9-to-5 job. Okay, we want to delete that issue out of our business completely. And this is how we dominate. And it really just is 3 things. So let's dive into number 1, which is the gap in the market. So what is a gap in the market? So the gap in the market really comes down to picking what we call a blue ocean niche, a niche where there's not a lot of competition. Now, inside this niche, there are 3 things, 3 elements that are inside of this niche to make it profitable. Let's look at number 1 here, okay? We have to have real people that exist online. I'll explain that more in a moment. Real people with a real problem, and also real people that are willing to spend money. So there's that word there, real. What do I mean by this? Well, most therapists and most coaches, what they do is they will come up, fantasize, they will make up, they'll imagine a niche inside of their head without confirming from any real research or data inside a real market with real people if it's going to be profitable. A lot of times therapists and coaches will just follow their passion. And sometimes, and in most cases, I should say, passion blinds us to see if a niche is going to be profitable. I'm probably the first one to come out and say this, that not all niches are profitable. Sure, your other gurus and experts might say that that's the case, but that's usually only to sell their product. That's usually just to make sure that you buy their services. But I'm here to tell you, in reality, and I'm going to prove this, in reality, not all niches are profitable. Look at your business right now. If you're not getting paid clients in the niche that you're in, I've just proven that fact. Not every niche is profitable. If they were, it means that every business owner who ever started a business in the history of time, in the history on this planet, would be a profitable business owner, but that is simply not reality. So the first thing we have to understand is, with niches not all being profitable, we have to find the ones that are. And it takes some research and some looking at data and analytics to find out, where are these profitable niches? What is the competition size? Is there a big enough cluster of people inside this niche for me to make a living and earn enough money to support my business? These are the thoughts we want to be having. So inside this niche, we also have to make sure, because we are running an online business, furthermore from the niche and making sure there's real people and enough people inside this niche, are these people online? If we're running an online business, we can't market our business online if the people we're trying to attract are not online. So part of the niche research phase is you have to make sure that your potential clients are online. And furthermore to the fact, we have to find out where these people are. Okay, because again, let's say, for example, I wanted to use Facebook to attract clients, and I'll get into the social media thing very soon. I want to use Facebook to attract my clients, but because I haven't done enough research and I've just fantasized what this niche would be, let's say, for example, all my clients are actually on Instagram, but I'm spending all of my time on Facebook. I'm marketing, showing value, trying to book strategy calls, trying to make money. And I'm talking about all the wonderful things I can do over here, but all my clients are over here instead. So to the extent of just finding a profitable niche, we also have to take it further and find out, are our clients online? Because if they're not online, it means we can't speak to them. It means they're not going to see our marketing, which means we can't give them our offer, which means we're not going to make money. So there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes of the niche. We have to get past the fact of just looking at a niche as, okay, follow your passion, that'll give you profits. Because that's probably the biggest understatement that screws a lot of people in this industry. Has to be real people that exist online, if you're running an online business, of course. The next thing is, again, real people with a real problem. This comes back to confirming, is the pain that I'm trying to solve, does it really exist? So I'll give you an example of this. We know that there are smokers in the world, and we know that smokers, there's going to be a cluster of smokers who do want to quit. This is a real thing. Okay, we know that these people are going on about their day in their life, probably thinking at some point in time, I want to quit smoking. I need to quit smoking. My health's in jeopardy. I need to give up this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to die. These are the normal thoughts smokers would have. On the flip side of this is the therapist or a coach that comes up with some random fantasized niche where they've just imagined that the people that they want to target want to, and I'll give you a real example here, like step into my power. This seems to be a niche that I'm seeing thrown around a lot in our industry, and I really don't even understand what it means. I've been in this industry my whole life. But what this is, it's the therapist or a coach taking an abstract idea that maybe they learnt as a therapist, as a coach on their training course. They've understood it for them. They like the sound of it, and then they go out into the world and they try and sell this abstract idea to everybody else. A niche has to solve a pain. I can't imagine any real person ever sitting up at nighttime anxious, scared, pissed off, angry at the world, thinking, I need to step into my power. Because the only people that think like this are other therapists and other coaches. So what I want to do is just break your mindset, so to speak, and I hesitate to use that word because I don't like it. But I want to break that mindset around just imagining what your clients want, imagining the problem they have, using your own story or your own journey, the things that you've overcome in your life, and trying to push this off to other people and imagining that other people must be suffering from this problem as well, because I did. So it has to be real people online that exist, real people with a real problem, an actual painful problem that keeps these people up at night. If it's not a painful enough problem, we then run into the issue of the third element here, which is real people that are willing to spend money. If the pain is not painful enough, why would anyone want to buy your service? Let's say, for example, I was driving a car that worked good enough for what I needed to use it for. But I went to a car yard where I'm just looking around for maybe another model of a car. I'm not convinced I want to buy it because the car I have is serving me. So it doesn't matter how good that salesperson is or how much they try and let me imagine myself in the new car, try and give me a great deal on the car and talk to me about the car and all these things. If I'm not convinced or I'm not in enough pain as a cause of the car I currently drive, there's no motivation for me to buy that new car. Hopefully that makes sense. Has to be real people online if we're running an online business, people that have a real problem, not some fantasized problem that you've come up with inside your head, but are also willing and able to spend money. The pain is not big enough. People have no motivation to spend. Doesn't matter how awesome you think the idea is inside your head or how you went through that journey and overcome that problem. Real people have to be suffering from a problem that exists and are willing and able to spend money. Now, what's interesting when I've talked about this, and I talk about this a lot, people will say, well, Scott, why don't I niche towards people that have a lot of money? And I used to think that too, but that actually sometimes backfired as well, because I found that people who had a lot of money didn't have the same sort of problems and pains as people with no money. And I actually found the people that were suffering the most were the ones that actually said to me, Scott, I'm going to go looking for the funds. I'm going to have to borrow it from friends and family or something like this. And they end up being some of the best clients I work with. Why? Because their pain was real. Okay. So if you're running an online business, people have to exist online. You've got to have real people with a real pain and a real problem, not something you've made up in your head. And you want to confirm this. You want to do thorough market research to find out the competition size, the cluster of people, what the pain is, what words they use, and so on and so forth. And these people have to be willing and able to spend money. Now, when it comes to the niche also, I do want to mention that we can get so blinded by this passion that we want it to work so bad. We are so passionate about helping this type of person with this type of problem that we can spend our entire career trying to sell a service that nobody wants. And we're not willing enough to be flexible, not only to listen to what the market is telling us, which means that if you're not making sales, it means that probably the people you're trying to sell it to, the problem doesn't exist in them, or they're telling you, we don't want to solve this problem. If you're not flexible enough to listen to what the market is telling you, you will never make money in this industry. And I think being blunt here is probably the most appropriate for you guys watching this. If people aren't willing to spend money on your service, no matter how passionate you are about it, you will never make money. It doesn't matter how you try and deliver that service, whether it's through an event, a seminar, a book, a one-on-one, an online course, a group coaching program, whatever it is. If people don't want what you have, they'll have no motivation to buy it. So the gap in the market we're looking for is this. These elements have to be considered appropriately in order to find this gap in the market. Don't do what most people do, which is like the monkey see, monkey do attitude. They'll just copy what everybody else is doing. You want to do thorough research. You want to find out, is the niche real? Is the pain real? Are they willing and able to spend enough money? And is the pain big enough where they can spend that money and are willing to spend it now, not 6 months from now, not a year from now? Okay. So that's number one. That is the gap in the market. So number two is we need a repeatable client getting machine. So let's say we found our profitable niche. We've done the thorough research. We know that they're willing and able to spend money, and there's a big enough cluster of people inside that niche for us to service. And there's not a lot of competition. If you've got that far, well done. You've got that far. I guarantee if you just employ this part right here, you'll start getting paid clients straight away. So what do I mean by repeatable? Like I mentioned before, you should be able to wake up each and every day knowing what you need to do to get paid clients. Go ahead and ask yourself that and answer truthfully. Can you do that? Do you know what to do each day to get a client? Do you know that if you push this button and this button and this button, it'll turn into a paid client? If not, it means you don't have a repeatable system in your business. And if you don't have that, that's why your income does this, okay? And that's why you struggle. That's why you can't attract clients on demand. You need some sort of repetitive system that you can apply each and every day to the extent of how much money you want to be earning. Okay, so repeatable client getting machine. So the way that we teach it, and I think you guys will find this very fascinating. If you follow me for a while, you've probably heard me talk about this. With the thousands of students we've helped get from absolute zero, from scratch, to 6 figures and multiple 6 figures within the first 12 months and beyond, of course, and growing their business consistently every single month, they pay $0 on advertising. No paid ads, no paid funnels, no fancy websites, not giving away free sessions, no free challenges, none of the stuff that you guys are probably doing right now. And that's probably to the extent why you're not making money, because you are doing all those things. So the repeatable client getting attraction machine that we use just comes down to 4 equal things. I'm going to go through these things in detail. So our business, if you see this model right here, you'll see a square on the outside. This represents the niche that we've found. Inside this niche, we just have to set up this system. We need to have an inputs or action system. We need to have a process system, which is what we call a strategy call, which is actually the third part of this webinar today. The third thing along is what we call our income, which is our output, and also a tracking system. This really becomes your entire business model, whether you're a coach, therapist, hypnotherapist, it doesn't really matter. So in order to get clients each day, we have to show up online and we have to do some what we call organic marketing in order to get the attention of our clients. Our goal with our marketing, whether it's video form, it's a post, it's showing testimonials, it's doing some Facebook or Instagram lives or something like this, it's to get the attention of this niche that we've chosen to work with, stop them right in their tracks from scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, because these are the places where our clients should be, stop them in their day and allow them to see the type of advertising we're doing. Okay. Now this would be the same as like having a Facebook ad, but organically means that we don't have to pay Facebook. We can do this all for free, which means that when you get that $2,500 paid client, you don't have to pay anything for advertising. This is a lot, an easier model to process through, because as new coaches and business owners, you probably don't have the money to spend on advertising. So this is a sort of a better way, and it's a more consistent way as well. So the action each day is knowing what to do each day. And I'll talk about the social media part right here. Knowing what buttons to push, what actions to take in the right places with a long enough period of time that's going to get the attention of the right people. So from there, that's our inputs. That's what we're doing each day in the business. From there, what we do is we drive that traffic into a process stage, which we host what is called a strategy call, which is the third part of this webinar today, which I'll get into next. The reason we want to do a strategy call or a clarity call or a sales call is because, again, I want to have a repeatable, controllable system to follow, that whether I'm speaking to one person, then a second person, then a third person, I can just do the exact same thing that is proven to get a client. I can say the exact same words that are proven to get a client. I can cover the exact same objection over and over again that is proven to get a client. See my point here? Whereas if you're do manage to book a strategy call or a clarity call and you have no system to follow, it means that you're going to be all over the place. You're going to not know what questions to ask, how to handle the objections, how to take a payment, how to ask the right question in the right sequence of events, how to take your client through the actual painful process of letting them understand how important it is for them to let go of their problem, and so on and so forth. If you don't have that down pat to a system, a repeatable step, it means you're going to be guessing every time. And what does that mean for your income? This again, this is uncontrollable. We want constant growth. The only way to get constant growth is to get control. So action, we're driving traffic into a strategy call. And then what we're doing from the strategy call is we'll have some sort of close rate. If I speak to, let's say, 10 people in a week and I get 5 new clients, I have a 50% close rate. Very simple. Then I'm looking at my income. Okay. If I want to make $10,000 per month, well, I just have to look at the maths of this. Let's say my close rate is 50%. I want to make $10,000 a month. And let's say my price is $1,000 per client to acquire that client. $1,000 I'm going to make per client. $10,000 a month at $1,000 a client, 50% close rate. It tells me that I would have to do, based on my close rate, 20 strategy calls per month to make $10,000. Now, what will happen over time is I'll get better at those strategy calls because I'll be able to refine the system. I'll be able to refine the words I say. I'll get so good at just treating this one type of client and talking to them where the script will become so powerful. The process I use becomes so powerful. Then instead of having a 50% close rate, I could do the same amount of strategy calls, but now I close 75%. And now I've just added another quarter to my income. Maybe I start doing 15 grand a month. I don't necessarily have to do more strategy calls, but I'm going to make more money. Now, we've shown our students how to do this. And it's one big thing we teach, which is to have this strategy call system, which we give them scripts and templates for. And some of them are closing 100%. So if they want to do $10,000 a month, even $20,000 a month, and their price is $1,000 or $2,000 or beyond, They know that each strategy call they do is going to turn into income. What does this mean? Control. So all in all, the output is representing, was the input the right thing? Was the process, the strategy call, did I achieve the outcome of the strategy call? Did I get paid? Then I move down into the tracking and find out, did everything I do or just do, as far as the social media, to get that client on a strategy call and close that strategy call, did it work? Well, the only way to know if it worked is, did I get paid? Not by the likes, not by the shares, not by the fancy metrics. We ignore those things. Those things don't matter. But I look at my income. Did I just get paid for the work I've done? If it's a yes, here comes the most profound thing. If I can work out, yes, I just got paid $2,500, and it was a result of doing 2 Facebook Lives per week, 4 strategy calls per week, because I drove those traffic from those Facebook Lives, and I made X amount of dollars. It means that if I want to make X amount of dollars the following week, what do you think I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to repeat the same thing I did to get that first paid client. If I want to get a second client, I'll just repeat what I did on the first. If I want to get a third client, I'll repeat what I did on the second and the first strategy call. See my point here? It'll get down to a fact where you can literally wake up each and every day and know what to do to get a client, but also know what to ignore. I know therapists and coaches right now that can sit in front of their laptop for 10 or 12 hours per day, push all these buttons, do all this activity, do all this work, and struggle to make even $500 per month. But they're working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours per week, but struggling to make $500. You may as well go get a 9-to-5 job. Why? No control, no repeatable action, no system, no input, no process, no way to track their output, and no way to repeat it. Okay. But all of this exists in a profitable niche. We get the niche right, and then we narrow it down to the right system. It means that you can profitably make your business grow from scratch and be very consistent with the growth as well. So furthermore, let's look at the inputs. So what type of inputs? Where would we be doing social media? We'd be using things like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. But it's not just all well and good to show up in these places and just create random content. There's a sequence of events for this as well. There's a system for social media to make it work. A lot of people think that social media is just about showing up and showing your face and almost trying to look like famous online and look busy and look professional. But it's a different sequence of events when you can turn content into paid clients. So ideally what you want to be doing, and again, it's what we teach our students to do as well, once they've mastered this system and we know each and every day what they need to do to get paid clients, they know where their clients are, whether they're all on Facebook, all on LinkedIn, all on YouTube, all on Instagram, or they're scattered equally in equal clusters of people across all this social media, which means we have to use them all. We can then document all the moves they make, and we can pass this off to a virtual assistant. So we call this our automated VA system. Now what this means is all the button pushing you were doing before to make $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, which is 100% of the work that you have to do, you can now pass this off to a virtual assistant, give them the documented moves and steps in your business that helped you acquire those past customers, pass it off to a VA and say, hey, VA, I'm going to pay you $5 an hour or $10 an hour or something like this. Follow step 1, 2, 3, and 4, start booking me strategy calls. So what does this mean? Let's say, for example, you're sitting with your paid client, someone that you've acquired from the own moves that you made in your business. You're doing your hypnotherapy or coaching with them. You finish with that client. Then you look down at your phone and your virtual assistant has booked 5 strategy calls for you. And those strategy calls also came with those people that have filled in an actual survey to let them know or let you know about their circumstance, whether they're motivated, what their problem is. Normal strategy call survey you should have with all your strategy calls. Plus also, they've also ticked the box that says, yes, I have the funds available to work with you. This means that that VA that you've maybe paid $5 an hour, $10 an hour has potentially made you another $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. We have students right now whose VAs, who they're paying $5 an hour for, within the hour can book 2 or 3 actual perfect strategy calls for them and help them earn another $10,000 per week. Imagine paying a VA $5 an hour and then making you $10,000. You can't even get that ROI on a Facebook ad or a Google ad. It's impossible. But this is part of the automated system, which means that 90% of the work that you had to do in the past for yourself while you were learning the system, you can now pass off to a virtual assistant. And again, that's why our students and our clients grow their businesses so quickly, but they're not having to do any of the work for themselves. So all in all, having this automated system, having a VA run basically the entire strategy for you behind the scenes means that your business never has to turn off. So in my business right now, when I go to sleep, I have VAs that run my business when I'm asleep while they're awake because they're the other side of the world. So what does that mean for me when I wake up? And it's the exact same system I teach all my students. It means that when I wake up, I can wake up to strategy calls because I have an actual automated process in my business, because I have an online program, which is a different ball game altogether than a one-on-one business, but I'm basically talking about one-on-one business here. But because I have an online program, I can now wake up to sales. I can wake up to people joining my program straight away. All the time I was asleep, which means my business never turns off. And as a hypnotherapist and as a coach, if you have online hours and offline hours, which means that from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., you're pushing all the buttons. You're alive, you're awake, you're doing the Facebook Lives, you're trying to book strategy calls. When 5 p.m. comes, you basically close your laptop, and because you've got no automation, no virtual assistant, you've got no systems, you've got no repeatable process in your business, means your business actually goes to sleep as well. But the only way a business can operate and grow is if it can maintain its flow of events 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even over Christmas time, on Easter holidays, you're spending a weekend with your children, going away on holiday, your business should still be operating. Your business should still be running profitably. You should be receiving strategy call notifications. You should be having people contacting you, wanting to pay you for your services. If you don't have that right now and your income's doing this, again, it proves you have no systems. So this is a big thing. This is how we get the attention of our clients to start making money in our business. Now, you notice I haven't talked about mindset. I haven't talked about getting more certified. I haven't talked about learning a new skill or having multiple niches here, because all of those things are just going to muddy the waters when it comes to getting paid clients. You can do all the mindset work that you want. You can feel more confident. You can heal your inner child. You can do all those things. But if you still don't have a system in your business, you still won't be able to attract those clients. You might feel a little bit better, but you're going to be the exact same place, still wondering, how do I get a client? I might feel less anxious. I might feel more confident, feel like I'm worthy of a business. But if I still don't have the steps in place, logically, it means I still won't get clients. So the whole idea is this: focus on this stuff right here. So number one is the niche. Number two is the repeatable client getting machine. Let's talk about more about the process, the actual strategy call itself. What does this look like? So number three, repeatable conversion system. Now, again, I speak to a lot of therapists and a lot of coaches who don't do strategy calls, who don't do sales calls, and wonder why their income does this. I always recommend that take your prices off your website, because you can't control if someone goes to your website, reads through your slick sales page or your funnel, gets to the end and thinks, wow, that's really expensive. Or, they bookmark your site and say, I'll pay this later when I get home, and they forget about it. It means that you've now lost a sale. So everything we do, all the social media that we do, the lives, the videos, the processes, the system to attract clients from our social media, we drive them all into one place, which is a strategy call. I still do strategy calls myself because they're the easiest controllable way to make income in my coaching company, just like our therapists and coaches as well. Whenever they make a sale, it's as a result of a strategy call. It's not sending your price via email. It's not sending your price by personal messenger. It's having someone book a strategy call with you, fill out the survey, conducting the strategy call, and I'll get into the elements of what makes a good strategy call in a moment, getting control over the call, and then getting a $2,500 client, which you get paid at the end, then to repeat that process over and over. So what makes a great strategy call? Well, number one, you need to have a repeatable script. Okay, you need to have something you can follow. If you're getting on a phone call right now, or a Zoom call or a Skype call or something like this, not knowing what to say, not having a sequence of events, a plan of attack, what words to say, what words to avoid, what questions to ask, and you're just making up as you go along, you are going to lose that sale. But let's say, for example, you're lucky enough to make that sale. Wouldn't you want to know what you did in the previous call so you could repeat it in the second call? And the third call and the fourth call, hopefully you see my point here, repeatable, word for word. Number two, a big thing is understanding that you want to be able to show your clients the future value with working with you. Okay, so for example, I know that right now there's hypnotherapists in the industry that charge $100 for someone to quit smoking, okay, which is $100 is going to be very hard to maintain profits at $100. But we also have students in our program that charge $2,500 for the same service. So how is it that one hypnotherapist can charge $100 and maybe struggle to even get that $100, where we have another hypnotherapist who's following this process that can charge $2,500 and have that client begging that hypnotherapist to work with them? Now, I get it. A lot of people shy away from sales. They say, Scott, I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to do sales. If that's your thought, you need to break that. Every business on the face of this planet has to do sales. Hypnotherapy and coaching is no different. If you don't want to do sales, no funnel, no mindset work, no process, no new certification is going to fill in that gap to grow profits and income. Sales is a must when it comes down to business, growing your business, growing your company, whatever you're doing, regardless of the niche. You have to learn how to do sales in a repeatable way. So what you have to understand is what's the difference? What's the contrast between the $100 therapist or the $2,500 or the $1,500 hypnotherapist over here? To be able to contrast their differentiation in the industry, to be able to show a client not only the results of them working with you today, but also the future benefit. And when you can list out the future benefits of working with you as the hypnotherapist and then attaching a higher price at the end, we call this a contrast price, it doesn't seem as bad. But if I just said to a client, hey, I'm going to charge $1,500 to help you quit smoking, that client will probably say, well, I can go down to Joe Bloggs down the end of the street and pay $50. What's the difference? Why are you so expensive? Then it's up to you as the hypnotherapist to not just talk to them about the immediate result, but talk about the future result. We know as hypnotherapists and coaches that if a client overcomes their problem, quits smoking, loses weight, overcomes anxiety, more health benefits and positive things are going to happen as a result of losing that pain, overcoming that issue. And it's your job to contrast the difference between just the immediate result and also the future benefits. So what we do, we actually give our students this. We give them a strategy call script that they can follow. It takes about 45 minutes to go through the script. But also we give them something called a future value deck. This is a future value script to be able to contrast this price and flip the whole vector of the price issue, where at the end, once the client is educated in the right way through this presentation, that the client knows it's $1,500 and they still know they can go down the road for $50. But now the client is begging the student, hey, I want to do this. How can I pay? Instead of, wow, that's really expensive. That doesn't just happen out of luck. That happens as a result of doing the right strategy call, showing the right future value. Next big one is knowing how to handle objections. Now, what most salespeople will tell is you handle objections at the end. But if you handle objections at the end, you're probably going to lose the sale. So where do we handle objections? Well, as a matter of fact, I handle objections, just like I teach my students here at the social media phase. I show so much value and use my videos, my content, my depth of knowledge to answer my clients' most common questions. It's the same questions that they would bring in to the actual strategy call as an objection. So what does this mean for me? It means that, let's say I create an awesome Facebook Live where I answer my clients' most common questions. I'm handling objections. That's really all my social media does. I'm not in it to show myself. I'm not in it to talk about my journey or show off. I'm there to create social media that answers common questions. Okay, so I create one Facebook Live and 100 people watch that Facebook Live. 20 people book a strategy call as a result of that Facebook Live. And because they've all watched the same video, I don't have to handle any of the objections because that video has handled the objections for me. So in the past, when I first started this, when I had my own hypnotherapy business, a lot of you know that I was a stop smoking therapist. I was always getting the same objections over and over and over. And what should have taken me about 45 minutes on a strategy call took about 2 hours. And I spent basically my whole time answering objections, proving my worth, showing why I was different, talking about why I'm so expensive. And it just became an absolute nightmare because my social media was talking about the wrong things. I was in it for me. I was trying to show off and, I was naive to the fact of the power of social media. But now when I changed my attitude towards social media, and instead of talking about myself, my own journey, talking about how hypnotherapy works, how RTT works, how NLP works, all the things my clients don't care about. And these are all subjects that won't cancel objections. I use social media to cancel those objections, answer my clients' questions. And my strategy calls went from 2 hours to now my strategy calls might take 10 minutes. And I have the person jump on a call with me now, because I've done, thousands of these strategy calls, probably 3,000 or 4,000 strategy calls in the last couple of years just alone, where the person on the call will say to me, Scott, awesome, we could do this strategy call. I just want to let you know, I've read your book. I've watched all your social media. I watched all your Facebook. I've been to your Instagram, looked at all your testimonials. I watched all your webinars. I've watched the hundreds of videos you have on YouTube. I'm ready to buy. That instantly tells you my social media has canceled all the objections. So they're telling me I'm ready to buy. All I want to know is, can I pay via PayPal instead of my credit card? This is pretty much how my strategy calls go now. But in the past, it was, how will this work for me? Are you sure I can be hypnotized? Are you sure I'm going to quit? What's your guarantee? Difference in contrast. It was all the difference between this. So again, what we teach all of our students to do is use social media in such a way where you're answering your clients' most common questions, you're breaking down their objections, so by the time they get on a call with you, they have no objections left. They're ready to buy. And then what it does is, because you've handled the objections, part 4 is you're able to take payment in full. Okay, I have students report to me over and over. They'll say, Scott, I couldn't even get through the strategy call. Like, this client interrupted me and said, hey, I don't even want to do the strategy call. I've got my credit card ready to go within the first couple of questions of the strategy call. Why? Because that student's social media canceled out all the objections. That client came to the strategy call in their mind, 100% convinced, because they watched all the social media and they realized you're the expert, but credit card in hand. Now imagine being able to repeat this every single day, to know that every strategy call that you do is going to book a $1,000 client, $2,500 client, $5,000 client. We've got students that are charging $10,000 for a 4-week package, $10,000 for things like anxiety, weight loss, confidence, the same things other hypnotherapists and coaches are struggling to charge $100 for. It's a big contrast. And this system alone, just even the last couple of years, has helped our students earn over $5 million in extra revenue for their businesses. No ad costs, no Facebook ads, no Google ads, no extra certifications, no low prices, not healing their inner child, no more mindset work, but having a system, a process that can be repeated each day, that they know when they wake up each and every morning, they know what to do to get a paid client. So overall, what does this system look like? Hopefully you're still with me and this is making sense. What does this system look like in its entirety? Well, this is what it looks like. You have your input stage, which I talked about, which is all your social media. You drive all of that social media into a strategy call. We have a proven strategy call system where we can pretty much get it to a point of closing every client. And here's just an example. One of our students talking about $30,000 months, doing $120,000 in her first 6 months of business. The first 6 months of opening her business, $120,000. No more certifications, not more certified than you guys. And this is actual hypnotherapy business. And then tracking everything that they do. Now, these spinning wheels represent repetition, that the system can run automatically by itself. It's an autonomous system. You don't have to be physically there every single day. You'll get it to a point where your business does not have to shut off. And like I said, the advanced version of this is we can now palm this off or hand this off to a virtual assistant who can automate a lot of the stuff for you, keep the business running while you're busy being a mother, being a father, being a business owner, doing other things outside of the business. But like I said, if your system, your process, the way you run your business, whether you're a hypnotherapist or a coach, has no system, no process, it can't be automated, it means that you're going to experience this for the rest of your career. Your income's going to be up and down. Your client attraction is going to be up and down. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days, and you're going to have no control over this business. So there has to be an input, process, output. We need to know what to track. Tracking really comes down to it that, let's say, for example, I made $10,000 in January. I want to know over the last 30 days, what did I do exactly to the last variable? What did I do to get to that $10,000? And let's say, I've done 100% effort, 100% of things I can look at equaled $10,000. But out of that 100% of action taking, I realized that, hey, it's only this small 30% of the things I did. It was just the Instagram lives that I was doing. It wasn't the Facebook lives. It wasn't even the YouTube. It wasn't LinkedIn. It wasn't my organic outreach. It wasn't any of those things. It was just showing up on Instagram every day, doing 2 Instagram lives per day. That's where all my clients came from. What does this mean for February? It means that I'm going to double down on the Instagram live, because that 30% in January was the only thing that made me that $10,000. I'm going to double down on Instagram, master Instagram, really improve the process there. And I could maybe double, triple, or quadruple my income by putting all of my attention here and ignoring everything else. In contrast to that, what do most therapists and coaches do? 100% effort across all social media, which is not a bad thing right at the start. They struggle to get any sort of systems or process in place. They struggle to make $500 per month. They're working 12 or 15 hours a day. They might even have to get a 9-to-5 job and then come home at nighttime and now have to work the business, and jeopardize their sleep time and things like this. Struggle to get to $500 a month. Then the only logical thing to do is, they think, I've got 2 choices here. I can either do more work and I have to work 17 hours a day, hopefully to get to $1,000 per month, or I'm going to assume that it's mindset. It's my inner child. I'm not certified enough. It's none of those things. It's because you don't have a predictable set of steps. I'll take it back to the car analogy. When you get in your car, what's the first thing you do? You don't have to think about it. Seatbelt, turn the car on, look in the revision mirrors, put it into reverse out of your driveway. You don't have to think about those things. When you first drove the car, it was chaotic. It was all over the place. But then it's systemized unconsciously inside your mind. We don't even have to think about it. It's the same thing in business. That for our students report this to me often. They say, Scott, I just get up in the morning, follow all the steps I need to do. I don't even think about it anymore. And then I look down at my phone and there's another notification of a strategy call. That's automation. That's how we do this without thinking. I always think of it like this. A machine doesn't need to think. A machine doesn't need time off. It doesn't need to be fed. It doesn't need to be watered. It doesn't need to be motivated. You can press start on the machine and let it do its thing because it's programmed to operate in a certain way. But human beings are not like that. We're full of emotions. We need time off. We need to have a break. We need to rest. We need sleep. We need water. We need social activities. We need breaks from things. So you want to turn your thinking and your business into a machine. You want to have the machine run your business for you, not the human being. Anytime there's a human being in there pushing all the buttons, you will cause chaos. And it's very hard to systemize the human being because they have up and down days. They have emotional issues. All of this sort of messy stuff, they need to be fed, they need to be motivated. So all in all here, guys, you want to turn your business into a system. And this is what it looks like. It's a constant flowing system that never needs to be turned off. So last thing, you probably think, Scott, that all sounds awesome. So what do I really need to dominate my niche? How can I dominate being a hypnotherapist, coach, NLP, or RTT? It looks like there's so much competition. What am I doing right now? Now, what's interesting is I can speak to hypnotherapists and coaches that have been in the industry for like 5-10 years, and they still don't have the basics down. I know that if I was in a hypnotherapy business for more than 5 years, where I had to sit in a business where 5 years I just experienced this, joy, stress, anxiety, happiness, stress again, happiness, stress again, with no control, and I didn't know what to do each day, I would have given up a long time ago. And I nearly came to a point in my business as a hypnotherapist because that's the way I used to function. But then I automated everything as far as the system. I knew what I was doing. I took a step back. I put the processes into place where I learned to love the business again. So how do you dominate? Well, it really comes down to this. Firstly, we have to set up the foundations. You have to have the right niche. You have to have a differentiated offer. You can't be just selling the same thing as everybody else. You have to have the right price where you can economically live and survive in business. $100 here or $100 there is not a lifestyle. It's not a business. You have to know that if I want to make $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $100,000 a month, I need to know what I need to do each day. I need to make sure that my price is right. Otherwise, I'm going to sit in front of far too many clients and not have time to do all the other social media stuff. I need to have a client attraction system set up. I need to machine every button push that I do so later on I can pass it off to a virtual assistant. Take out all the guesswork. This comes from your social media machine, booking system and survey machine, taking payments at the end, knowing what buttons to push, knowing your daily routine. This is the foundations. And I speak to So many hypnotherapists and coaches, like I said, that don't even have the foundation set up. This is the first thing you want to be doing. Then you want to have and machine the client attraction, repeatable inputs, automated VA system, strategy call script, and survey that is actionable where you can start taking strategy calls straight away. You know what words to say, what questions to ask. You know how to handle objections with your social media. You know what to do and how to take a payment upfront from your client. No payment plans, no clients paying you on the day of their first therapy session. It's payment at the end of the strategy call. Conversions, you need a repeatable script. You need to know how to talk about future value. You need to know how to do the objection handling, get that full payment at the end. Next is automation. You have to have a business that can run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your business should never sleep. If you sleep and your business is turned off, it means you're going to miss out on half a day's cash and revenue. You want to be waking up to strategy calls. If you're not waking up to strategy calls now, you're not waking up to messages from people saying, I've watched all your social media, I'm ready to buy now. It means that 95% of your business is still not there's no foundation there, it's still not activated. You're missing out on a ton of revenue. Next is the routine, the day-to-day operations, the tracking, looking for asymmetrical inputs. An asymmetrical input is knowing that if I do a Facebook Live, it can turn into 2 paid clients. But if I do one YouTube video, it'll never turn into clients. So asymmetrically, I'm going to push this button right here, which is the least amount of effort, and it's going to produce the biggest result. Where if I just scatter my approach all over social media and have no idea where the clients are coming from, it means that my whole business is going to consist of me just pushing buttons for 20 hours a day. I would rather do one Facebook Live and get 2 clients than do 100 YouTube videos a week and get no clients. That's an asymmetrical input. That's more of an advanced strategy, and it has to be repeatable. Lastly is growth. You have to know how to track your business, forecast your business. You should know your accounting. You should understand passive income, tracking, scaling, and this is a lot of etc. as well. These are just the basics. This is how you dominate. See, again, I'm not talking about mindset. I'm not talking about healing your inner child. I'm not talking about feeling more confident. You got to turn yourself into almost like an emotional machine. I know a lot of people don't like me hearing that, but that's how you dominate. You shouldn't be a slave to your business. A business should be a slave to you. If you don't have the foundation set up, you don't know how to use social media to get paid clients, you don't know how to convert these people, automation, you don't know what your daily routine is, it's going to be very hard to dominate. And you are going to live in a business where this is representative of your days, your weeks, and your months and your years. And if you're experiencing this, you could be experiencing this just all of last year of 2020. Is this a type of business that you had envisioned inside your dream business? Probably not. So you have to learn how to dominate business. To learn business, you have to become a business owner, an entrepreneur. You've got to think in this systems approach. Okay. You can't just be the therapist. You can't just be the coach. I get it. That's the fun stuff, but you have to be a business owner as well. So guys, that's the end of this video. Hopefully this made sense. Like always, let me know if you have any comments or any questions. Leave in the comment box below. If not, make sure you reach out to me, of course. Happy to answer any of those questions. So my pleasure to take you through this, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.